Good morning. Hope everyone is having a wonderful start to their day. We're getting things kicked off here on our Tuesday morning. We're always going live. Yesterday I went into wins and takeaways. The reason I went into wins and takeaways for everyone, I want you guys to think about this as well. Every now and then I bring that across. What are your wins and what are your takeaways? What are your wins and takeaways over the weekend, over your day? And the reason I ask is to see if you're getting a better understanding. If we're finding wins, that means we're looking for a win. If we are finding aha moments and takeaways, that means we're getting a better understanding of what we're doing. And it's very important that we look for both. Because that means if we're looking for both, then we're consciously aware and we're consciously making decisions. If we're not getting both of those, that means our automatic is on. And a lot of people don't know that they're programmed. A lot of people don't know that their subconscious mind is automatic and it's automatically just running. But that's also why you keep interpreting the same day, day after day, week after week, month after month. And it's because you didn't know that your subconscious is programmed and you normally run on autopilot, that the individual normally stays locked into a set of beliefs, a set of behaviors, and they keep living through the same cycle over and over again, thinking something's going to change, and nothing ever changes. How can a person change their life if they don't change their mind? Their mind is what's creating their life. If you start a new behavior, if your mindset starts to change and you don't replace it with a good habit, you quickly and automatically find another habit. New behavior turns into another habit. New habit turns into another behavior. This is quickly and automatically done. How do you know if you're on course or off track? Well, what's more important to you? And what's becoming more important to you, is this taking you in the direction that you truly want? Is this really going to create the lifestyle that you truly desire? Or is it going to keep taking you off track? The mind is perpetual transmutation of thought energy. One thing leads to another, and it leads to another, and leads to another. Are the new behaviors that you're taking on going to create a new habit? And is it worthy of you? Is it going to take you who you want to be? And when you start to really self-analyze your results, where you're going, you get a better understanding of who you're becoming. And it's important to always get a better understanding of who you're becoming, because you're always becoming something new. Not entirely new, but always coming from the way you think. A little bit different, but you just normally, and then you auto-adjust, you auto-correct yourself. If you're going too far up a track, even for what you're programmed to do, your cybernetic mechanism pulls you back on track. If you start doing things that don't serve you, your cybernetic mechanism will grab you and try to pull you back on track, because you knows you're going in the wrong direction. Negatively. If you're going positively in the wrong direction, you're going into the unknown, and you don't know how to get there, and you don't know what you're doing, cybernetic mechanism kicks in, and it wants to pull you back on track as well. That cybernetic mechanism, subconscious, is designed to keep you safe, both positive and negative, or let's say negatively. And when I say positive, that means into the unknown. Normally, we correlate positivity with goals, because that means you're using your positive mindset to take you in a new direction. But when you get to the point to where you're breaking off into the unknown, you're going beyond what you know how to do, cybernetic mechanism kicks on and tries to pull you back into conformity. All these things are normal. This is the normal operating model of the mind. This is normal operating procedures of the brain. If you're doing this and you find yourself stuck, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly normal. Your brain is operating perfectly normal. But that's also why majority of the people are perfectly normal. And it's rare that you find somebody that's not normal. When you find that person that's not normal and they're really successful and they're getting results that are not common, it's because they're not normal and they're not doing common things. Therefore, they're not getting common results. So how do we get to the point, and if you're listening to this live or later on, how do you get to the point to where you're getting uncommon results? Well, you got to take on uncommon behaviors. You got to take on doing things that the common people won't do, and they don't want to do them. And that means you've got to be willing to go beyond what you know how to do. You've got to be able to keep your mindset on track. You've got to be able to stay with a positive mental attitude in the direction of your goal and vision. You've got to have a vision, and then you've got to act on your vision. That's how you stay on track. And you don't listen to the people around you, because the chances are the people around you are not getting the results that you want, because they're doing common things and they're normal. Normal people get normal results. Common people get common results. Common mindsets, common behaviors, literally wind up more or less the same. And that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to do the uncommon, and you want to relate yourself and relate yourself to people that are highly successful, you're going to have to go and do something completely different. And you're going to have to go against your conditioned mind, your conditioned way of thinking. Now, how do we do that? Well, it's by studying, understanding yourself, understanding what you do, understanding how you think. And you got to retrain your mind. That's not normal. A lot of people, we're not used to retraining our mind. Retraining your mind is really, it's how to go beyond what you are. When you begin to retrain your mind, means you are going to work on your mindset. And that's how Wallace Waddles was talking about doing things in a certain way. That certain way is a different way. When we look at consciousness, consciousness is just a reoccurring thought that's going over and over and over and over again. And that's why you stay in your rituals, you stay in your habits and behaviors. Let's look at the way of consciousness. Consciousness is your life. It is the way of life. Consciousness is your life. It's the way of life. It is what you have. It is where you are. It is how you work. It is what you do. It is how you act. It is what comes to you, what leaves you. The kind of friends and opportunities you attract, and the kind of problems you have. In fact, consciousness is the determining factor of every circumstance, experience, and condition in your life. It decides whether you are successful or unsuccessful, rich or poor, happy or sad, strong or weak, peaceful or discordant. For all are but the expressions of your consciousness, of the universe in which you live. Life is a state of consciousness. When we say that, we have said everything that needs to be said. Is it not? Now, that state of consciousness has delivered everything equal in proportion to what you are right now. The results you are currently having are always equal in proportion to your consciousness. It does not demand more. It'll give you exactly what you are. Life will not demand more of you. It will give you exactly what you are. That's why it gives you your friendships, your opportunities, It's everything that comes to you, where you are, how you work, where you work, opportunities that you will attract, the opportunities that you will miss, the opportunities that you are miss. I'll never forget this. I remember Bob was talking about consciousness, and an individual was talking. He said, "Thank you, Bob, for charging what you charge." He said, "Because if I would have never forced myself to pay you what you asked to be paid to learn your information, I would have never have grown." That individual said he had bypassed paying for this information, and he would just study the free videos, and he never got results. I can't recall. I think it was like 7, 8 years. And he would bypass paying. He didn't want to pay. He didn't want to pay for the knowledge. He said, "I'll just get the free stuff." But nothing ever changed. Nothing ever changed because he never changed. He was never willing to make the payment. He finally got tired and frustrated and decided to pay is when everything changed. It's funny how we don't understand the mind. If you're not willing to pay, that means you're not worthy. You think you're not worthy. You don't think you can do it. And the chances are that you're going to go and do something that you don't know how to do. If you don't pay, you don't pay attention. If you're not paying attention, you're not going to do what we're telling you to do. He said, "Thank you for charging the high price you charge." By being forced to have to come up with the money, he said, I had to go and do what I didn't know how to do. I had to force myself to get out of the habits. I had to force myself to go into the unknown and get the money so that I could start working with you. He didn't understand that was part of the growth. Think about that. He didn't understand that was part of the growth. If he didn't go and pay, and he never paid, the information was free, he never learned anything because he never did it. He never went and had to go do and force himself to grow, to go earn more money. But it was the forcing of forcing himself to go and figure out how to earn money that was pushing him out of his paradigm. It was pushing him out of his program. And by pushing him out of the program, he started to see something inside of himself he didn't see before. And he started to believe in himself that he didn't, and believe what he didn't believe about himself to begin with. And that forced him to go do the things and to grow and to stretch. A lot of people think that they have circumstances that are controlling the behavior. It's their own mind. But when you're forced to go beyond, when you're forced to earn more money than you've ever earned before, that's when you grow. You are always going to earn the same amount of money. You are never going to earn more because you are going to never go out of your own way to go do more, to go earn more money. But because he had to come up with, I can't remember, he was coaching, life coach, maybe 20, 30 grand. Because he had to come up with that amount of money, which was over half of what he was earning annually, that forced him to become somebody different. Sometimes we miss. We don't understand. By being forced to come up with the money, that forced him out of the habits and behaviors he currently had, which forced him to grow. It forced him to invest in himself, what he'd never done before, and be okay with spending that kind of money on himself. But in return, because he had to work for the money, he had to squeeze every penny out. He had to figure out a different way to earn money. He grew. And then he started by spending that amount of money on himself, which is more than half of what he earned annually, meant he was worthy of it. And because he was worthy of it, every dime he spent, he made sure he earned it. He learned something from it. He took something away from it. And by taking something away from that and applying it, he grew. 8 years of learning this information for free and never did anything with it. Finally, he got tired enough. He spent every dollar on himself. And all of a sudden, the change happened because he was willing to do the work. He was willing to go and learn how to earn the amount of money to invest in himself. That changed him. That's what changed him. Otherwise, there was no pain, no hurt, no discipline. By having to pay, he had to be disciplined. He had to pay attention. And then he was picking up the book on purpose now. He's going to make sure whatever he learned out of that book, he was going to go and do it immediately. We explain this all the time. A lot of people don't get it. And it's through the repetition that you grow. If you're not continually repeating the information is, it's not that the information didn't work, you didn't work. You've got, a lot of people wanted to figure out what I was doing, and I was changing. They thought it was just luck at first. I'd ask people, do you want to get up at 5 a.m? You want to come study with me? No. I don't want to do that. Come on. Everybody around me. You want to get up? You want to go study? Why don't you come with me and come study in the morning? What time? 5 a.m. Every once in a while, somebody would come around for a little bit, and then they would go back to their pattern plan. Accident? Those people didn't have the habit of behavior getting up at that time? No. It was right on target, right on time. But that's why they kept getting the results they're getting. And I guarantee you right now, the people that are left behind are still getting up at the same time, doing the same job, experiencing the same experiences, and not really enjoying life, not really enjoying to go beyond, but they're not willing to do the work. But the work is what's taking them out of their habit and their routine. The habit and routine is what has you stuck. Habits, routines are consciousness. Look. Why consciousness? Why is consciousness the way to creation or the way to a new reality? Because it's what you have. I started to change and change my results because I was working on my state of consciousness. And it's what I had. As I started to work on me started to change. I started to become something different because I was working on my consciousness, my mindset, my subconscious. You don't want to work on you. You're the only one that can take you beyond what you are. You are a state of consciousness. You are becoming reality. You are shaping the future. You attracted your friends. You will continue to attract the same friends. You will continue to attract the same people because that's what you are. If and when you decide to truly make a decision and invest on yourself and stick to it. It is what you do. It's how you act. It's what comes to you. It's what leaves you. It's the ideas you get and the ideas you miss. It's you. You are a state of consciousness. Why is this important? You're the only one that can change you. You're the only one that can take yourself into a different direction. And you're the only one that sleeps with you, goes to bed with you, wakes up with you, goes to work with you, decides what job you take on, what endeavors you do not do and do. You're the only one that knows you when nobody's looking. It's you. I've had people say, Well, my wife didn't approve or my husband didn't approve to invest in myself. I didn't ask you. They wanted to grow. I asked you if you wanted to grow. This is personal. Personal development. Remember Andrew Carnegie said, it's the person that invests in himself that changes. You can't invest in anyone else, and nobody else can invest in you. This is personal, and you're the only one that can take your own consciousness to a different state of consciousness. Nobody else can do it for you. Do you want to change? Do you want to win? Want to get up at 5 in the morning? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. You're not ready yet. You're going to get up at 6 a.m.? Want to join classes? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Well, you're not ready yet. That says that your own consciousness doesn't believe in yourself. You don't think you're worthy of it, and you don't think you can do it. A lot of times we think it's the money that's holding people back. The root cause is their self-image. They don't believe they can do it. But it's you. You are the created life force. Your consciousness is what you have, where you are, how you work. It is what you do, how you act, what comes to you, what leaves you, what kind of friends you have, what kind of opportunities you have, what kind of opportunities you attract, the ones that you miss, the kind of problems you have. In fact, consciousness is the determining factor of every circumstance, experience, and condition in your life. It decides. That's the key. That's why so many people miss it. It decides whether you are successful or unsuccessful. It decides whether you are rich or poor. It decides whether you are happy or sad. It decides whether you are weak or strong. It decides whether you are peaceful or discordant. What is it? Consciousness. Your consciousness. For all things are but expressions of your own consciousness. Your universe. It lives in you. It is you. It lives in you. It is you. Such a beautiful study. And if we really understand who I am is, we understand that it's our state of consciousness. And what we're doing is we're helping people evolve that state of consciousness. The people that get up and create reality are the people that truly believe in who they are and that are willing to do the work. We use goals to help us go beyond what we know how to do. We use goals to help reprogram the mind to tap into the subconscious. We use goals because goals are not to get there to grow. It's by setting a goal and a worthy goal that is worthy of you, and only you can decide what that is. But the goal helps you advance and go beyond what you know how to do. Now, if you just set a goal that's bigger than what you are and who you are at the current moment, you're not going to win big, and you're going to grow slow. But when you set a big goal and you demand to pay you what you're worth, you take the decision and you make it one with you and you begin to work towards it, that's when you have the quantum leaps. But that's also when you have the quantum reprogramming of your subconscious mind, when you stick to it. By choosing a goal that's bigger than you've ever done before, and acting towards it, you're going to hit the terror barrier. This is not uncommon. Even if you set a little goal, you're going to get to the point where you're going to hit the terror barrier. You're going to hit that subconscious program and says, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'm okay being comfortable where I'm at. But you know that's not true, because you're always uncomfortable and you hate it. At the end of the day, you hate what you're doing. It gets to the point. Your spiritual consciousness is so perfect, it tells you whenever you've been stuck for too long. You start getting anxious and you don't like your life and you don't like where you're at, because your spiritual DNA is perfect and it's identifying itself with you, telling you you're not that and you're worthy of more. Spiritual DNA always wants to grow. It knows there's perfection inside of it. And it also knows that your consciousness has made it stuck. And it wants to get out of itself. And your consciousness is itself. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you poor. It keeps you unsuccessful. It decides how reality shapes itself around you. It's your beliefs, your state of consciousness, and it knows it so much more. Spirit is the expression of the thoughts emotionalized in you. Your spiritual DNA says, I'm not this and I know I'm more. I know I can have more. Remember that your mind is the center of the whole thing, and everything that's heavier than air gravitates toward the center. This is reality. We're going to go into a short video, and I want to bring Bob up here, Video Bob. He may be gone, but his spirit is still left here. The videos he left in time for us to observe, to understand and comprehend, and we still use them. Let's look at our perception and how our perception has to shift.
I'm talking about your income, what you're earning. What were you earning a year ago, 5 years ago? What are you earning today? What do you think you'll be earning a year from now? How about your relationships? And if you have your own company, how is the company doing? You see, I think it's good for us to look at our results every now and then and really ask some serious questions. I'm going to put something here on a chart. I want you to look at it. I want you to imagine that you're here. This represents where you are. And we'll say this represents where you want to go. And you want to move in that direction. Now, I think that's what everybody wants to do from time to time. They take a look and they build a dream, they got an idea in their mind, and they want to go directly there. Unfortunately, after studying this for many, many years, I have found that this is the way most people go. They start getting a little better, they'll get a little worse. A little better, a little worse. They may end up a little bit better, they've gone up a bit, but not that much. Why? What really happened? Well, that's what I've been studying, and that's really what I want you to look at. Now, I have found most people want to improve their income. There's two things that you must know if you really want to create wealth. You have to know where you are, and you have to know where you're going. Now, that is so simple and so obvious. Why are so many people stuck? Think about it for a moment. Really give it serious thought. Now, I used to think, and I think most people do, these people don't have goals. But they may not have taken a pen and really clearly defined their goal, but I think they do have a target. They want to make things better. I don't think that's where the problem is. I think the problem's right down here in where we are. Most people don't know why they're where they are. You see, I have found one thing. Everyone knows how to do a better job than they're doing. That's not the problem. We do know how. The problem is we're not doing what we know how to do. Why aren't we? Well, there's an answer to that, and there's your answer. It's paradigms. Paradigms are the problem. Now, the average individual doesn't even know what a paradigm is. Joel Barker wrote a book on paradigms way back around 1990. He said to be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. In the Goal Achiever Summit that I'm going to be doing next week, and I hope you're there, but if you're not, it's in Los Angeles. We're streaming this all over the world, so you could be in it. And it's in-depth what makes you tick. Why is it that paradigms are holding us back? Well, I think we have to ask ourselves, what is a paradigm? And as we take a look at it, a very simple explanation without really getting into too much psychiatry or psychology, a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. In other words, we wake up in the morning and we move into action, but we do the same things day after day after day. I've talked to many large companies. I've worked with some of the largest companies in the world. The vice president of sales or the sales managers or sales regional managers, they can almost predict where any one of their salespeople are going to be 6 months from the time we're talking to them. And that's because they use history. And the history will tell them what the salespeople are going to do. Our history shouldn't dictate what we're going to do. We should be dictating what we're going to do. Do you know, I had the good fortune of way back in 1970 of working with Eric Hoffer. We were at a Human Resource Congress in Chicago. He said, in times of change, now in 1970, things were really starting to pick up speed, but I'm telling you, it was moving at a snail's pace relative to today. He said, in times of change, the learners are going to inherit the earth. I took that to be metaphorical for they'd be happy, healthy, and wealthy, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Well, you know, there's a lot of people out in the street like that. They think they're learned. There's no such thing as a learned individual. You're either learning or you're not. There's no such thing as an educated person. You say, well, now where are you going with that? Well, education comes from the Latin educo, to mean to deduce, to develop, or to draw from within. Education isn't something you fill up and put a cap on. Now, Hoffer also said to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence. Not too much and not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. If you have too much confidence, you'll think you don't have to learn. Well, you know, unfortunately, I think we all fall into this category, both these categories, all too often. There's times when we just don't think we could get it. And there's other times we don't think we need it. The truth is, we have infinite potential. There is no one alive that can even guess at what we're capable of doing. Now, I have found the only way to improve our level of understanding is through study. There is no other way. You see, to deal with change in our fast-moving world, you must develop your higher faculties. Einstein put it very well. He said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is an obedient servant. He said, we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Do you know what the gift is? Most people live through their senses. They go by what they see, hear, smell, taste, touch. We have higher faculties. We really do. Do you know perception is a higher faculty? Do you know the difference in one person and another in the same business? One sees the business so much different than another. Your perception is your point of view. Perception is an intellectual factor. Memory is an intellectual factor. See, this is what separates us from all the rest of the animal kingdom. Now think. All the little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. They can blend in. We are the only creature on the planet that's totally disoriented in our environment. And that's because we have been given the mental tools to create our own environment. There's no such thing as a bad memory. Jerry Lucas was teaching people how to memorize the Bible. We had a psychiatrist, Abdullah, over from Saudi Arabia to a matrix seminar. He was teaching people to memorize the Quran. Now think. Another intellectual factor is imagination. He'll said it's the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. As we get into this goal-achieving summit, I'm going to tell you, imagination is a very real part. Your imagination will permit you to go into the future and bring the future into the present, and then begin living that way. It is, without question, a phenomenal tool. Well, we've got to learn to use these tools. We have reason. We have an inductive reasoning factor. We've got the ability to choose our own thoughts. Do you know, Viktor Frankl spent the war years in a concentration camp. He said that there's one thing he learned. Regardless of the intellectual or physical abuse he was subjected to, no one could cause him to think something he didn't want to think. You see, reason is what makes us free. Reason gives us the ability to choose our own thinking. We don't have to accept what we hear coming from the tube or from the newspapers. We don't have to accept any of that. We can think for ourselves. Then we have another intellectual factor called intuition. I demonstrate that in every seminar that I put on. I'll be demonstrating it in Los Angeles next week. I could walk by you and like that, I could tell you all kinds of things about yourself. Your intuitive factor is that mental faculty that enables you to tap into vibration, to pick up vibration and translate it in your mind. You can pick up other people's energy. We're all doing it. We can learn how to really tune in our intuitive factor. I'm extremely intuitive, but not by accident. I've worked at developing it. Another intellectual factor is the will. Do you know when Dr. Werner von Braun was asked what it would take by John Kennedy, the President of the United States at the time, he asked Dr. von Braun, what would it take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth? Von Braun answered him in 5 words, the will to do it. And you know, that's all it'll take for you to hit any star you're shooting at, the will to do it. The will gives us the ability to concentrate. We know that concentration increases amplitude of vibration. In other words, it makes your energy much stronger. These are such phenomenal tools, and we all have them. What we've got to do is learn how to use them. And when we learn how to use them, our life changes. Now let's look at this for a moment. I want you to look at the areas of your life that your paradigm has almost exclusive control over. It controls your perception. It controls your use of time. Your paradigm controls your creativity. It controls your effectiveness. Your paradigm controls your productivity. Your paradigm controls your logic, and your logic literally controls your life. Now, here's another thing. If someone comes to work with our company, one of the first things I ask them is, what's the most you've ever earned in a year? I don't really care what the answer is, but I want to know what the answer is. And when they tell me pretty well where their mind is focused. You see, your ability to earn money is controlled by your paradigm. It's not controlled by the marketplace. It's not controlled by the people you work for or with. Your paradigm controls your income. You can be very bright. You could be a really scholarly individual and earn very small money. You could be not too bright and earn millions. It's your paradigm. It's that conditioned part of our consciousness. Well, you know, in this Goal Achiever Summit, if you can be there, be there. It's in Los Angeles next weekend. If you're not able to be there, we'll come to you. We're going to stream this. You can stream this right onto your phone, onto your laptop, anything. All over the world, we're streaming this. And here's what happens when you change your paradigm. Now look it. It's almost as if we're boxed in. Like there's a box around us. Every time we go to move, we hit the walls and we stay where we are. We think we've got a great idea and we're going to make it happen. But in final analysis, nothing really happens. When you decide to change your paradigm and you really start to learn how to change it, we're going to show you not only how to change your paradigm, we're going to show you how your paradigm was built and then how to change it. Well, when you make the decision to change it, you knock the walls down. Now, it doesn't mean anything's changed, but you've got the room to move and you can make it change. And I'm going to tell you something. When you get it, the change is huge. The change will actually be huge, and the change will be permanent. I found that out. It made an enormous difference, an absolutely enormous difference. Now, stay with me for a moment. Let's suppose you just changed your paradigm with respect to how you use your time. All right? Let's suppose that you decided you're going to get up 1 hour early and you're going to study. Solomon said, in all you're getting, get understanding. There's only one way to develop understanding, and that's through study. There is no other way. 1 hour a day is 9 40-hour weeks in a period of a year. And if you keep studying, your understanding keeps going up. Think of what that would do to your income. It would make an enormous difference. I earn millions of dollars a year now. But when I first started to study this, I was earning $4,000 a year. And that was the most I'd ever earned. I just couldn't change anything. But as I started to study, everything in my life started to change. And that's what we want to do. I think Buckminster Fuller put it very well. He said, you never change anything by fighting existing reality. To change something, you must build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
Now, what are we talking about here? Consciousness. We're talking a mind that's set. If you think that the problem's outside of yourself, and you've been blaming everybody and everything outside of you, look in the mirror. take a real good look in the mirror. And you're going to quickly understand that there's nothing outside of you. Everything's internal. Everything that a man is consciousness. And everything that you've been receiving is right on target, right for what you are. We want to get out of ourselves. We want to get out of our own way. It's through changing your state of consciousness. It's through working on you. Bob said it, 1 hour a day. If you wanted to change your use of time, 1 hour a day working on you would change your whole reality. I've been doing this for years. I work on me every day. I work on me more than an hour. At times when I was busy doing busy work, my day was consumed on things that didn't serve me. Minimum of an hour, minimum. But I gave to me every day. All the other things that I was doing was taking away from me every day. It was taking my time. It was taking my time away from being creative. It was taking my hours. All the things that I was consumed with that I thought I had to do was my state of consciousness. My state of consciousness no longer served me. It kept getting me the same results. Perhaps you're there right now. You got to make a decision. Nothing's going to change. It hasn't. Not because it can change, because you don't know how to change. Majority of people live day by day, day after day, and nothing ever changes. And they don't like where they're at. They don't like the job. They don't like what they're doing. They're sick and tired of being tired, but they don't know how to change. That's the problem. Everybody can change. You don't know how to change. Well, this is what we do. We teach people how to change. We teach people how to change their state of consciousness, because that's the only thing they can change. We're the problem. Your mindset is the problem. And it's about thinking in a certain way. That means thinking differently. Now, we do this every day. We're teaching these classes every day. I brought these classes so that people can study the way I was studying. And we do this every day, ritually, studying Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. every day. Spanish, 7 a.m. every day, on purpose. The purpose is to rewire your subconscious mind. The purpose is to develop yourself from within. And this is how you go beyond what you are. Then on Saturdays, we have a program, Business Matrix. We teach thinking and results in Business Matrix, and as well as we have Creator's Lifestyle. You're ready and willing to bet on you, we're ready for you. And as well as once a month, on Thursdays, and normally every last Thursday of the month, you guys need to get into our website, go to imastermind.com and look at our website. And look, every month we have a live seminar. There's no excuse. Anybody that's around here, you should be taking full advantage of this. You're here. If you're not here, we're live streaming all over the world. Go to our page, send us a message that you want to get involved. You want to take a look at the programs, you want to come in and take a look at us live, you can do that. You got to bet on you. Nobody else will. Quit thinking about what everybody else thinks. Bet on you. Don't let anybody else control your reality. When you ask somebody else if I should go, if I should do it, you're saying that you're not worthy of it, or you don't believe that you can do it. You don't, and worst of all, don't go and ask people that are doing what you do. They don't know, otherwise they'd be getting different results. They don't know any better, otherwise they wouldn't be sitting there living the way you're living, doing the things that you do. And anybody that's highly successful knows that what I'm saying is true. The chances are anybody that's earning over $500 million a year, if they were to sit and listen and look at what we have, they'd tell you, no, he knows what he's talking about. Listen. If you're asking people that are earning under $1 million a year, chances are you're asking the wrong crowd. Because if they knew, they'd be getting the results. They're stuck. You're stuck. Everybody gets stuck. It's what are you going to do beyond that? How are you going to change beyond what you are? Zach, how much time do we have? How do we determine going beyond? You've got to work on you and you've got to invest in you. There are two parts to all equations, and that's yourself and physical reality. That's yourself and the matter to be dealt with, but the matter to be dealt with is already here for you, right on plan. Einstein said it, Bob said it earlier. You must develop your higher faculties. How do we develop our higher faculties? Well, it's through your intuitive mind. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. It's your intuitive mind. It's your ability to imagine, to go beyond. And then you use your higher faculties: perception, will, intuition, memory, reason. It's whenever you use your higher faculties with your imagination. Imagination was a gift. But there's a process. Once you found your gift, once you found your vision of what you want to create, you're going to have to learn this material. You're going to need to learn how the mind works, because if you don't, the same mind will put you right back on track. And many of you that have tried to set goals and couldn't achieve them, you try to go beyond and you kept getting stuck, or you keep getting, you feel yourself growing and then you get pulled back. Absolutely normal. Your brain is working perfect. You need to learn how to adapt. You need to learn what to do, how to respond, and how to change your mindset to change the pattern plan. You got to work on you. And if you don't understand the mind, you don't understand you, and you don't understand where you're getting the results you're getting. You're ready and willing to bet on you. Send us a message. We're going to put this link on, and they should be putting the link on our page. Click on the link. Make a decision. Remember, the people that make decisions are the people that create their own reality. The people that make a committed decision to work on their subconscious, to get in these programs and stick to it, earn the life they desire. I'm glad that we're happy and grateful that we're able to do this, and we're able to help people, and we're able to do this every week and give to everyone. I'm happy and grateful for the idea that has used me. And we'll keep giving and we'll keep helping people. Again, we're doing this to help people, to grow, to achieve, and to go beyond where they've ever gone before. Thank you guys. Thank you, Zach. And we'll be seeing you guys next week.